Ethan had never felt this nervous before. Even after years of training as a human linguist for first contact missions, nothing could have prepared him for what he saw now. The alien planet lay beneath him, a swirl of green forests, glowing rivers, and strange crystal formations that reflected the sunlight in colors he had never imagined. The team's exploration ship hovered above the surface, scanning for life signs. Ethan's role was simple, or so he thought. Observe, communicate, and record. But he knew even a small mistake could turn a first contact into a disaster. He adjusted his headset and tapped on the console. The readings were off the charts. Life here was abundant, and the energy readings suggested an intelligent species, possibly living deep inside the forests. Ethan's curiosity was buzzing, but he reminded himself to stay calm. He had prepared for moments like this, rehearsing greetings and polite phrases in multiple languages and codes, but nothing in his training mentioned what to do if the alien looked. Stunning. The moment he saw her, he froze. She was standing on a crystal plateau, her figure outlined by the glowing rivers behind her. Her skin shimmered like liquid opal, shifting colors subtly with every movement. Her eyes were enormous, reflecting light like tiny galaxies, and they were fixed on him. Ethan's heart raced, but he forced himself to focus. He needed to communicate. He took a cautious step forward and activated the universal translator. The machine hummed softly, picking up the alien sounds. Her voice was melodic, a soft series of notes that almost sounded like music. Ethan tried to repeat the sounds as accurately as possible. "Hello," he said finally, his own voice sounding strangely small in the vast open air. She tilted her head, studying him with curiosity. Then she repeated something, and the translator spit out the words, "Human, curious, safe." Ethan nodded quickly. "Yes, I am safe. I am safe. You are safe?" He tried not to stumble over the words. The alien stepped closer, her movements graceful and fluid, almost like she was dancing. Ethan's eyes wandered. He couldn't help it. He tried to pull his gaze back to her face, but her glowing hair and shimmering skin made it impossible. Without thinking, he said, "You are pretty." The words hung in the air. He immediately wished he could take them back. But then something surprising happened. Her eyes widened, and a color he hadn't seen before flickered across her skin. She tilted her head and whispered softly, "Say it again, human." Ethan blinked. Did she just ask him to repeat it? He felt heat rise to his cheeks. He coughed nervously, unsure of how to respond. You are very pretty," he said carefully, testing different ways to phrase it in case the translation had misunderstood him. A soft hum of amusement came from her, almost like a laugh. She stepped closer, her eyes shining brighter, and for the first time Ethan felt a connection, not just as a human observing an alien, but as two beings trying to understand each other. He realized he wasn't just saying words. He was building trust, one small compliment at a time. They spent hours trying to communicate more fully. Ethan learned her name was Lyria, and she learned his. They shared simple things, how they moved, how they saw colors, even how they felt the warmth of sunlight on their skin. Lyria seemed fascinated by human gestures, and Ethan was captivated by the way her emotions showed on her skin. He discovered that her species didn't just speak. They expressed thoughts and feelings in the patterns of color and light across their bodies. Every shift in her hue was a word, every flicker of her eyes a sentence. As the day passed, Ethan realized he had never felt so alive. Each moment with Lyria was a mixture of excitement and discovery. He learned how to mimic her gestures, and she tried to mimic his. They laughed at the mistakes, small misunderstandings that somehow brought them closer. At one point, Lyria touched a flower and showed him how it emitted a subtle light that changed depending on the observer's emotions. Ethan marveled, reaching out gently to touch it himself, feeling the warmth and subtle vibrations. Just when he thought the day could not get more surreal, the ship's sensors picked up a strange energy signal, coming from deep within the planet. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Lyria, what is that?" he asked. She tilted her head, her skin flickering with colors he could not read. She made a sound, and the translator said, "Unknown, dangerous, but important." Ethan felt a mix of fear and curiosity. He had trained for unknown signals, for strange anomalies, but never for something that pulsed with life and intelligence at the same time. "We should investigate," he said cautiously, but carefully. Lyria nodded, and without another word, she began leading him through the forest. The trees were massive, their trunks twisting like spirals, glowing faintly from within. Strange creatures darted among the foliage, watching them with curious eyes. Ethan followed, trying to keep pace with her fluid movements. The further they went, the more he realized that this planet was not only alive, it was conscious in some ways he could barely understand. Along the path, Ethan tried to continue their conversation, using every simple word he knew to connect with her. "You like humans?" he asked at one point. Lyria paused and tilted her head, the colors of her skin shifting to a soft lavender. "Interesting," the translator said. "Different. Friendly." Ethan smiled. "Yes, friendly." He realized that this mission, which had started as a formal first contact, was turning into something deeply personal. He found himself wanting to protect her, not just as a diplomat or explorer, but because he cared about her well-being. Suddenly, the energy readings spiked. Ethan froze. "That's it. That's the source," he whispered. Lyria's skin darkened slightly, a sign of concern or caution. She gestured for him to stay close. Ahead of them, the trees opened into a clearing, and at the center a strange structure rose from the ground. It looked ancient, carved from crystal, with light pulsing inside as if it had a heartbeat. Ethan stepped closer, awestruck. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Lyria nodded, her skin shifting to a bright blue, indicating something close to joy. But then a sudden tremor ran through the ground. Ethan stumbled, and Lyria reached out, her hand glowing faintly as she steadied him. The touch sent a shiver down his spine, not from fear but from the strange warmth of connection. They paused, both understanding that this place held secrets. Ethan knew that whatever was inside could change everything, for humans, for Lyria's people, for the universe. But for now they just looked at each other, sharing a silent understanding. A single wordless moment that bridged worlds, and then Lyria's eyes flickered and a soft hum escaped her lips. The translator turned it into words: human, brave, curious, careful. Ethan chuckled softly. He felt a warmth in his chest, knowing that this connection, built on trust, curiosity, and even a simple compliment, was real. He whispered back, "And you, amazing, beautiful, brave." Lyria tilted her head, a soft glow spreading across her body. "Again," she whispered, and this time Ethan did not hesitate. He repeated the words, letting them flow naturally, and she blushed, if such a thing could be called that on her species, a brilliant shade of shifting pinks and purples. The ground trembled again, louder this time, and Ethan realized that the adventure was only beginning. Whatever lay inside the crystal structure was waiting for them. He glanced at Lyria, and in that instant he knew that they would face it together. Human ingenuity and alien wisdom, united by curiosity and trust. As the sun dipped behind the crystalline mountains, Ethan took a deep breath. The forest shimmered with 1,000 lights, and the unknown stretched before him. He had no idea what challenges awaited, but one thing was clear. Meeting Lyria had changed everything. For the first time in his life, he felt the thrill of discovery not just in the mission, but in connection, and with a soft smile, he whispered again, more to himself than anyone else, "You are pretty." Lyria's glow flared bright in response, and Ethan realized this was only the start of something extraordinary. Ethan's heart pounded as he stepped into the clearing with Lyria. The crystal structure towered above them, its pulsing light casting shimmering patterns across the forest floor. He could feel the faint hum of energy vibrating through the air, a strange resonance that made his skin tingle. Lyria's eyes glowed softly, reflecting the light of the structure, and Ethan felt a mixture of awe and anticipation. "This place. It is very old," Lyria whispered, her voice musical and soft. The translator relayed her words in a gentle hum. "Ancient knowledge, powerful, dangerous if misunderstood." Ethan nodded, feeling both excitement and caution. He had trained for exploration and discovery, but nothing had prepared him for something that seemed alive in every sense of the word. They approached carefully. Ethan ran his hand along the smooth crystal surface, feeling warmth radiating from it. Lyria placed her hand beside his, and the colors on her skin shifted rapidly, showing a mixture of curiosity and concern. "The energy inside. It responds to thought, to emotion," she explained. Ethan's eyes widened. "You mean it reacts to us?" "Yes. she said softly. We must be careful. The wrong thought, the wrong feeling, could trigger it. Ethan took a deep breath. He had faced unknown dangers before, but this felt different. The structure seemed aware, almost sentient, and he knew that careful teamwork was their only chance. Lyria stepped forward, her hands tracing intricate patterns in the air. The crystal surface responded, light shifting and moving as if understanding her gestures. Ethan mirrored her, attempting to copy the movements as best he could. Slowly, they unlocked a small panel on the side of the structure, revealing a faintly glowing orb inside. The orb pulsed softly, sending waves of energy that made Ethan's stomach flutter. He instinctively reached out, but Lyria gently grabbed his hand. Together, she said, her skin glowing with calm blue tones. He nodded. They touched the orb at the same time. Instantly, a vision filled Ethan's mind. He saw flashes of stars, distant planets, and civilizations rising and falling. Strange alien beings communicated in colors and light, much like Lyria, and he realized that this artifact held knowledge accumulated over millennia. He gasped, pulling back slightly. It's incredible, he whispered. Lyria nodded, her eyes bright with understanding. It shows us potential, future, danger, balance. Ethan stared at her in awe. He had expected an adventure, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. The artifact could change everything for humanity, for Lyria's people, for countless others in the galaxy. Suddenly, a low hum echoed through the clearing. Ethan froze. From the trees emerged a group of aliens unlike Lyria's kind. Their armor was dark and sharp, their eyes cold and calculating. They moved with precision, clearly trained for combat. Ethan realized immediately they were here for the artifact. Lyria's skin flared red, a sign of alarm. She placed herself slightly in front of Ethan. They want it. Dangerous. Must protect. Ethan swallowed, feeling fear but also determination. He had trained for unexpected encounters, but this was more than a test. It was a life-or-death challenge. The aliens approached, their weapons humming softly. Ethan thought quickly. He noticed the structure responded to gestures and emotions. Maybe, just maybe, they could use it to their advantage. Lyria, if we think carefully, maybe it will help us, he whispered. She nodded, trusting him. Together they focused, sending calm and strategic thoughts toward the artifact. The crystal pulsed violently. Light shot out in intricate patterns, creating barriers and confusing the intruders. Ethan and Lyria moved in sync, guiding the energy with gestures and focused intent. The attacking aliens hesitated, unsure of how to proceed against a force they did not understand. Ethan's mind raced. He remembered some old human strategy games, patterns of attack and defense. He pointed to certain areas, signaling Lyria to shift the crystal's energy in those directions. The barriers blocked the intruders and even nudged them backward, forcing them to regroup. Lyria's skin glowed in vibrant colors, her emotions in perfect harmony with Ethan's thoughts. One of the aliens broke through the outer defenses, rushing toward the orb. Ethan grabbed a nearby crystalline shard and hurled it in a wide arc. The shard connected with a faint flash, and the intruder staggered back, dazed but not harmed. The others paused, giving Ethan and Lyria the moment they needed. Working together, they directed the crystal's energy in a sweeping motion. Light spiraled outward, forming intricate patterns that forced the intruders to retreat. They realized that brute force would not win here. Carefully, Ethan guided the final surge of energy, and the intruders, defeated by the power of unity between human and alien, withdrew silently into the forest. Ethan let out a long breath. His heart pounded, but he felt exhilarated. We did it, he whispered. Lyria's skin shifted to a soft green, a sign of relief and pride. She stepped closer, her eyes shining. Together, strong, humans, clever, trust, important, she said, her voice gentle. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he could not describe. They turned back to the artifact. Ethan's curiosity surged. It's amazing. What does it want us to do with it? Lyria traced her fingers along the orb, her colors shifting thoughtfully. Protect, learn, share, wisely, wrong hands, danger. Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of responsibility. This was not a weapon, it was knowledge, and it could shape the future. As they examined the artifact, Ethan realized something else. His connection with Lyria had grown stronger. They had faced danger together, communicated through actions and thoughts, and now shared a bond that went beyond words. He felt a deep respect and admiration for her, and he knew she felt the same. Their brief moments of playful teasing earlier now seemed like the foundation of trust and friendship. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the clearing. Ethan and Lyria decided to return to the ship to report their findings. As they walked, Ethan couldn't help but glance at her occasionally, remembering the first moment he had called her pretty. She caught his gaze and tilted her head, her skin flickering in soft colors, playful and warm. "You... again," she whispered softly. Ethan smiled and repeated the words, feeling more confident this time. "You are amazing, beautiful, brave." Lyria's glow brightened and she let out a soft hum of amusement and happiness. It was a moment of shared joy in the midst of adventure, a reminder that even in dangerous situations, connection could bring strength. Back at the ship, the team greeted them with excitement and curiosity. Ethan carefully explained what they had discovered, while Lyria added details about the energy and its responses. The humans listened in awe, realizing that the artifact could become a bridge between worlds, a source of knowledge and understanding. That night, as Ethan prepared to rest, he thought about the day. He had come to the planet expecting a mission, but he had found something far more extraordinary: friendship, trust, and a bond with an alien being that transcended language and species. He glanced at the sleeping chamber where Lyria rested, her skin softly glowing in the dim light. For the first time, Ethan felt that humanity's strength was not just in technology or weapons, but in connection, understanding, and courage. He had learned that even in the face of unknown dangers, a single kind word or a small compliment could build trust that changed everything. And as he drifted to sleep, he whispered quietly, "We'll face whatever comes next, together." Lyria stirred slightly, her colors flickering in response as if she understood every word. Ethan smiled, knowing that this was only the beginning of an incredible journey.